Welcome to Varanasi, Indian Institute of Vegetable Research, a constituent unit of Indian Council of Agriculture Research. People say mind to market, that scientists develop products in laboratories, but then it has to reach to the people who will actually use it. Let's say in this Indian Institute of Vegetable Research, people develop new varieties or hybrids. Farmers need to take it up and plant it in their field. The person who is a bridge between the lab and the land is our guest today, Dr. Neeraj Singh, Principal Scientist of Indian Institute of Vegetable Research. Before we start our conversation with him, let's take a quick look at his brief profile.
Research and extension of vegetable production technologies by agriculture organizations and efforts of farmers no doubt has enhanced the production and productivity of vegetables in the country. But the challenge still remains, especially in this changing climate scenario, to meet the demands of rapid growing population coupled with reducing cultivable area. This challenge is rigorously accepted by our extension scientists who act as a bridge between researchers and the end users. Dr. Neeraj Singh is one such scientist. He is the principal scientist in agriculture extension at ICAR, Indian Institute of Vegetable Research, Varanasi, Uttar Pradesh. Dr. Singh, by keeping himself close to the farmers and other stakeholders, engaged in research and extension in the field of vegetables and allied crops for last 20 years. He is an alumna of ICAR, Indian Agriculture Research Institute, New Delhi. He has contributed extensively in accessing the needs of farmers and transforming desired vegetables technologies through different means to end users, particularly in Uttar Pradesh and Bihar, for their nutritional and livelihood security. So far, he has handled 14 extension projects as principal investigator funded by reputed organizations like ICAR, Ministry of Water Resources, Government of India, NHM, NHP, CIMMYT, India, etc. A recipient of many national honors and recognition, Dr. Singh received Outstanding Multidisciplinary Team Research Award in Horticulture and Swami Sahaj Anand Saraswati Extension Scientist Award by ICAR New Delhi in 2004 and 2006 respectively. In 2015, he was bestowed with Dr. G.S. Vidyarthi Memorial Award by Indian Society of Extension Education, ICAR, IARI, New Delhi. Dr. Singh has contributed more than 120 extension publications and 35 research papers.
Thank you for being with us. It's a wonderful opportunity. You have a very wonderful institute, really good colleagues and very motivated. So let me ask you this question. I mean, extension service doesn't look very enticing. If you say you are a scientist, you are working on something, or maybe even a farmer, cultivating something, perhaps looks very captivating. But to say that I am an extension scientist doesn't seem to be so interesting. How did you get into this?
Well, so far this agriculture is concerned, the most important part is that whatever the technology we are developing in our lab or in the farm, until and unless it doesn't reach to the ultimate users, that's of no use.
Yeah.
Because whatever we are working in agriculture, that's for them only. So there is a most important part. Lot of technology is still, we are talking that in India, we are next to China, so far the production or area is concerned. But we are having the potential of competing even China also. The only gap is that whatever the technology we have developed, that should reach to the ultimate users within the time frame.
You made a very important point that we are the number 2 in terms of, let's say, acreage or in terms of output or production, and we are the number 2. But if you are talking about productivity, where do you think we stand?
Certainly, that's again the question, that when we are talking for the productivity, that's again depends that we are having the potential. Take the example, our national productivity is only 17 tons per hectare, whereas for the different vegetable crops, we are having the potential of more than 50 or 60 tons. Even in case of tomato, if we are talking, let's take example, small example, tomato. Tomato, the national productivity is only 22 tons per hectare. But we are having the potential of even 70 to 80 tons per hectare. So if such technologies, or even on an average, if you are talking, 40 to 50 is nowhere. We are having, even you are going for the variety, 40 tons, it's a very easily one can adopt. Then the question is that how to take this technology to the farmers field. And if the farmers, they are taking the potential that what we have tested and what we are having, certainly our productivity.
So this brings me to the very natural question, what is this extension service? I mean, I can understand, suppose if you are sitting in a village, okay, or a group of villages, and then you are going to provide from time to time counseling to the farmer in terms of saying that, okay, maybe plant this crop or plant that crop or put this pesticides. But in a research institute, what is the role of an extension scientist?
Well, the most important thing extension scientist is having to assess the need of the people. What is the need? Not only at one side, the farmers, and at the other sides, consumer as well as other stakeholders. So we have to assess all the needs, that whatever the needs is there. And then based on that, whatever the technology, whatever the research is going on, again, we have to do all sort of refinement or validations. Because any technologies is not successful, or you can't recommend any technologies across the country or across the region. So in that case, you have to test those technologies for a particular reason. That's the job of extension comes. At one hand, you are analyzing the needs. At the other hand, you are taking whatever the technologies suitable for that particular region, testing those technology in that particular region, and then making certain refinement, and then you are recommending to the farmers.
Yeah. Interesting. You made a very important point, which is that one important role of an extension scientist is to assess the need assessment of a different stakeholder. So let me take one major stakeholder of a seed production, which is farmer. You would have roughly about 2 decades of career as an extension scientist. What are the major problems farmers are coming and telling you?
The major problem is seed, of course. So far vegetable is concerned, seed is a major problem. And another thing is different pesticides. Actually, what happened that the number of diseases and infestations or pest infestation is there in vegetables. And the most of the due to the lack of knowledge or awareness, the farmers, they are unable to do the justification for that. And as a result, haphazard use of pesticides has been made in the vegetables by the farmers, which resulted not only in the number of diseases, but also developing a sort of resistance also sometimes in the vegetables. So
there is a very high irrational use of pesticides among farmers. That is, you think, as one major problem. Okay. The second, you said seed. What is the problem in seed?
In seed, actually what happened that most of the time in vegetables, the farmers are usually small to marginal. So instead of going to a registered shop or from where they can procure a good quality of seeds, generally they are procuring seed from the local shops or local markets, which is not a registered one, and neither they are having, the shopkeepers, they are having a good knowledge of agriculture. So what happened, those seeds, sometimes they are procuring outdated seed, sometimes they are procuring a seeds which is not suitable for that particular season. But just for the sake that the shopkeepers had to make their business, they are giving those seeds to the farmers. And without testing the things, without knowing much more about that, the farmers are doing.
So that way, I mean, farmers have problems about getting quality, right kind of seeds, and also, unfortunately, because they are not well informed, there is a problem of overuse of pesticides. These are 2 major problems that you are saying. Very interesting. We'll keep this conversation going. Keep watching Eureka. This institute has developed more than 64 varieties and 18 hybrids. How did they take this to farmers? How did they convince the farmers to plant it in their field? That's a story that we are going to discuss after the break. Keep watching Eureka. Welcome back to Eureka, and we are having a very interesting conversation with Dr. Neeraj Singh, who in some sense one can say takes the pulses of farmers and inform his institute, Indian Institute of Vegetable Research, so that we can do useful research and make agriculture a profitable business in this country. You have had about 2 decades of experience as extension work. You would have come across many farmers, you would have seen them in many training programs. Can you tell us one or two moving moments in your career?
Well, though there are a number of such movements there, but there are certain one or two I want to narrate here. One is of Chandauli district,
Chandauli district
which is
in,
nearby this Varanasi only. There's one block, Chakia, and as we all know that Chandauli district is a totally a rice wheat cropping system, and it's also known as the rice bowl of eastern Uttar Pradesh. So here mostly the growers, they are making only rice and wheat, these two crops. So some 15 years back, I'm talking, some 15 years back when I visited these areas, Chakia block, it's a totally a Naxalite belt where the farmers, they are having a small areas of land, but they are just making the waste by having of rice or wheat only, and they won't have any foods and other things for green vegetables and other things. So after just a whole day making a view of all the villages, talking to the farmers, then by evening when I reached that Chakia block market, there I saw there was a local hut of, you can say, vegetables. There are a number of vegetable people, they are selling the produce. Then I thought that it's vegetables brought by the growers sometimes from the local villages. I talked to them. They simply replied, no. They had purchased those vegetables from Mughal Sarai or nearby markets and selling it here.
Okay, for a long move.
Long way, that means wholesaler to retailer. Then I thought that when there is opportunities there is for vegetables, why not they are growing? And then I saw my efforts, and now if you see those areas, from there the vegetables have been sent to different markets of even Varanasi and Mughal Sarai. That's the changes.
That's a change. That's a very interesting.
That's the changes. Where nobody is growing vegetables, but now the vegetables have been sent from those areas to different places, and like Varanasi markets, and a lot of farmers, they are taking vegetable-based farming system they are adopted. Instead of rice wheat, they are following vegetable-based. So
this is one incident. If I can ask another incident.
Yeah, well, another is for the tribal. The Sonbhadra district, that's the tribal district of Uttar Pradesh, and Chopan block, that's another tribal dominated block. When we visited some 6-7 years back in that areas, I was surprised to see that the farmers, they are not people, or even a child, you can say, they are not having sufficient nutritive food. Because when we are talking for the agriculture and food, there is two things. One is nutrition security, another is livelihood security. So until and unless you should not focus on the nutritional security, it's worth talking about the livelihood. So it's important for the first to focus on nutritional, and we're surprised to see that whatever the life they are living and whatever the food they are taking, they are sustainably, totally they are not a balanced diet. That's not a food that a common man can eat even. So we make the efforts, we trained them, giving all sort of skill development programs, we are given all sort of demonstrations, even for the nutritional garden. We promoted the kitchen garden also by giving the fruits plant or some vegetable plants, nursery, all those things. Then we also ask for their livelihood. We promote for the poultry also, backyard poultry. And all the efforts had no doubt shown these days that the farmers they are getting, or the households they are getting. There we had adopted 1,000 tribal household in that particular region. And now the result is that the farmers, the tribals, they're having a good life with all sort of nutritional food, and they are living their life very happily. So that's the changes has been made in that particular tribals.
You said that farmers have identified or largely are facing problem of quality seeds, dependable seeds, and then because of lack of knowledge, they were producing pesticides irrationally in their farm. That is the farmer's stakeholder. What do you think are the major challenges before research? When you talk about vegetable research, what do you think are the major challenges that we need to undertake today, in today's condition?
Of course, as I said, one thing is the variety. That's the seed is the problem, and on the other part is the incidence of disease and pests. So the research, the challenge is to develop a resistant variety, because ultimately what happened that when we are talking for the vegetables especially, or agriculture in general, our task is to reduce the cost, because there is only two ways to get the farmers benefited. One is to enhance their share in the consumer price, and another is to reduce the cost of cultivation. From our institute, Indian Institute of Vegetable Research, like in tomato, there is a severe problem of TLCB. Our institute has developed, apart from the hybrids, because in hybrid what happened that every year there is a dependency of the farmers. So we are promoting farmers for improved varieties. So from our institute, Kasi Vises and Kasi Aman, these are the two varieties which the farmers even can multiply their seeds, because in case of hybrid, farmers cannot multiply those seeds, but in case of varieties, improved varieties, they can multiply. So that's why we are more promoting the varieties instead of hybrids. No doubt hybrids is giving a good potential or good yield, but we are promoting this. And this TLCV resistant, this is showing a very good performance. Apart from that, similarly, like in cowpea, okra, we are having the disease resistant varieties that we are promoting, and farmers are happily they are adopting it by earning a lot.
Very, very important. I mean, you said that you are touching one part of the problem, which is like, for example, how do you reduce farmers' input cost? But of course, how do farmers sell it at higher price is a different kettle of problem, which needs to be tackled through other policy mechanism. But as a research institute, your focus has been on this side of the table, where looking at how do you reduce the cost, etc. And you have developed number of varieties. I'm sure some of them would have been really successful beyond your imagination. So can you share one or two of your success stories?
Sure. Like this cowpea I was talking. Cowpea variety Kasi Kanchan, Kasi Unnati, and recently developed Kasi Nidhi. These three varieties boost. This is a boost type, because in cowpea, generally people used to grow pole type one.
Cowpea so, being lobia,
lobia,
right?
Yeah, of course, lobia. So generally people used to grow pole type, but we had developed this bush type varieties, which is resistant to even golden mosaic virus. And surprisingly, we are talking for the marketing one. And this is in North India especially. This cowpea can be grown from February to August, any time, any day. Just a day farmers is sowing it, and then just after 60 days, 55 to 60 days, they are taking their produce in the market. So that shows a very good result, and we are proud to say that even whatever this cowpea area, total cropped area in the country is, almost more than 80 or about 90% of the area is under our varieties.
Very important point, because largely, generally people think government program, maybe that's good, but then it doesn't actually reach to the masses. I mean, it doesn't actually percolate, or people just keep on talking about it. But here you are saying actually cowpea grown today in India today, 90% is your variety. Am I correct? Am I hearing you correct?
Yeah.
Very, very interesting point. We'll take a very short break. We'll come back. We'll discuss about how this institute is planning to face the future. Keep watching Eureka. We'll come back after a small break. Welcome back to Eureka, and we are having a very wonderful conversation with Dr. Neeraj Singh, Extension Officer and a Principal Scientist with Indian Institute of Vegetable Research at Varanasi, which is a constant unit of Indian Council for Agriculture Research. Before the break, you were talking about your success story of lobia. And people say that the chili variety of yours is also very popular among the farmers. Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, of course. Our chili variety Kasi Anmol, that's really showing a great performance. And especially what happened that chili is a crop which is mostly in North India sown during Kharif season, that is June, July. And it continues up to March, April. That means it covers almost two seasons, that is Kharif season as well as Rabi season of October, November. So mostly whatever the chili farmers they are taking sole crops of chili for the period of two seasons, which is not giving them a much remuneration. So what we had developed this Kasi Anmol, it's a very good variety of chili. It's a small plant with umbrellas, it's on its top, and all the chilies, fruits that's coming on and down. And lusted green color, high pungency. And moreover, another thing is that in most of the chili varieties, its tip is generally a very thin tip is there. So what happened that during the distant market, Sometimes those tips, due to proper caring or storage or something, generally used to break down. And at the result of this breaking of tip, the price just go down for that.
Because the chili might itself get spoiled.
But here, in case of this Kasi Anmol, its tip is not completely thin, it's a blunt.
Okay.
And it's a lusted green color. Now the thing is that in most of the chili variety, whatever the hybrid even it is, you have to go for 6 or 7 flushes is there, you have to keep on harvesting and then fruits will come like that. But here in case of chili, this Kasi Anmol, in the first 2 variety, this first 2 flushes or harvest during the period of November, December, you can harvest a potential up to 70% of the total potential of this particular crop.
Okay. So the first 2 itself will give you 70% of the potential.
And then you just uproot those plants and then take some rabi crop of either wheat, or you can go for any potato or maize or even anything. Okay. By just calculating the benefit of those 2 crops, 70% of the chili, and then remaining 1 whole crops which is covering up to March, April of either of wheat or potato or maize or anything. That gives much more remuneration than taking sole crop of chili.
See, when you talk about vegetable and technologies for vegetable, one is developing new varieties or hybrid, I mean, which will yield better results, maybe which will have good characteristics, which will not get spoiled so easily, and so on. All those things are good. But the vegetable by definition is a perishable good. So you need different means of keeping them for a long time. I mean, in olden times, maybe we used to put salt and then dry it in sun, so that the dried vegetable can be available when the lean season is available. Are you looking at some technologies which will prolong the life of a vegetable, or use it in some other way where people can actually use it in lean season?
Yeah, of course. Earlier, whatever we are keeping the vegetables, and it will be better that you can go for that. There are a lot of preservation techniques are there. Like you can defreeze it, keep it in some refrigerated stores and other things we are keeping. Another thing is by coating. These days, for increasing or enhancing the shelf life of vegetables, we are promoting for the selected treating of just coating. Select means it's a sort of wax that we are coating vegetables.
Edible, natural
edible, yeah,
wax.
of course, which is not going to harm anything, and directly you can extend the shelf life of any vegetables up to 10 days or 15 days like that. Other than that, then there are also some poly packing of vegetables that also increase because for increasing the shelf life, actually we have to control the respiration of vegetables.
Okay.
That's the most important thing, that we have to control the respiration. If you are controlling the respiration of vegetables after harvesting, certainly it will enhance the shelf life of any vegetables. Apart from that, value addition is there. You can go for drying, osmo drying of vegetables. Even you can go for the chili powder, like in our institute, we have developed for the green chili powder. In the market, you see red chili powder is available, but we have developed the green chili powder.
Oh, okay.
That's a green in color, and that only possible with the green chili available to the farmers. So that's important. Then similarly, ready to eat, ready to cook, different types of either you can say the sauce, or you can say that this bitter gourd chips is there, ivy gourd chips is there, ready to eat, or ready to cook, even like bottle gourd kheer is there, instant soup is there. So with a lot of protein base, that's the important thing, that whatever in the market soup is available there. Sometimes there are extra proteins is not there, and many times in the medical science, if you are talking, okay, we require
protein fortified,
fortified, just like that also we had worked out, and that value addition can help the growers.
Given the fact that population is increasing, your land cannot increase, you have to reduce the resources. For example, we cannot be putting on fertilizers and pesticides, right? I mean, our input should be having certain limitation, otherwise it's causing great environmental damages. People are talking about something new called precision agriculture. That is, you don't have even water to spare, I mean, the way that we were able to do earlier. So you need to move into something called precision agriculture. So how do you see yourself in this new situation of doing an extension service when this precision agriculture principles needs to be brought into the scenario?
Well, certainly, precision farming or precision agriculture no doubt is the need of hour. And we have to go for that, which includes a minimum use of or recommended use of different inputs for the farming. Since so that, because in the urban area especially, or even you can say the peri-urban areas, we are promoting such kind of thing, and especially in case of vegetables, we have to work on that, and we are working also. Like you can say earlier, we are talking for the farming, inorganic farming, where you're using a lot of pesticides, a lot of, you can say, manures and other things. But now we are talking for the safe farming. Just in continuation with this precision farming, we are also talking for the safe farming, which is safe for our health.
Okay, okay, okay.
Like of organic and other things, we are talking for the safe farming. So in that, we are using certain things of inorganic also, because we know that just all of a sudden shifting from the inorganic to organic
Complete
or
organic
even
may not be
complete
possible.
organic may not be possible, and that will certainly that again hampers the whole system, agriculture system.
A very important point that you are making, but we are running out of the time. So I want to ask you a very last question and a quick response from you. As an extension officer in a very important institute of national importance, if I ask you what are the three major challenges before agriculture research, particularly vegetable research and extension, what would you put them as?
First one is improved varieties, that too the resistant varieties especially. Another is the production technologies. There are a lot of production technologies there, like mulching, fertigation and all the other things. Micro irrigation, that's another important aspect, because water is a major constant and we are running short of the water. So micro irrigation by having the drip or sprinkler, that's the important thing. And mostly, lastly but not least, is the pests. That whatever the disease and pests, we have to control by using the minimum use of pesticides, or you can say no use of pesticides.
Very, very important point. We had a very wonderful conversation with Dr. Neeraj Singh, who is a principal scientist and also extension officer with the Indian Institute of Vegetable Research. And every day when we have our meal, if there is some vegetable, perhaps there is an unseen hand of this institute which we don't realize. In likewise, many research institutes in India is contributed and is contributing to our well-being and the progress of the nation. Keep watching Eureka. We'll come back with a very interesting story next week with another Indian scientist. Keep watching Eureka.